Hey, the name's Silver, and I'd like to go over moves in Pokemon Legends ZA. There are a lot of similarities from the mainline games, but I'm covering everything that's important to Legends ZA. I'm using the move Moonblast to explain what makes up a move. Every move has a type. That means that Moonblast will do Fairy type damage when it hits. This also means that if a Fairy type Pokemon uses the move, they do extra damage with a mechanic known as Same Type Attack Bonus, or Stab as it's known in the mainline series. Stab gives a 1.5 times power bonus. If a move's power is 100, that means that it will be 150 power instead. In Moonblast's case, with it being 95 power, it will increase to 142 power, which is a big difference to consider. Next, there's categories. There are 3 different possible categories a move can be under. First one is physical. These hit the enemies for physical damage and use the attack stat against the enemy's defense stat. Examples are Earthquake, Thunder Punch, and Waterfall. Second is special. These hit the enemies for special damage and use the special attack stat against the enemy's special defense stat. Examples are Moonblast, Psychic, and Thunderbolt. Last one is status. These are moves that typically do not focus on direct damage. They can have a large amount of varying effects. Examples are Growl, Thunder Wave, Protect, and Wish. A move's power determines how strong that move is. Simply put, the higher the number, the stronger it is. As explained before, this power is also increased if the Pokemon that uses the move is of the same type as the move itself, which makes it even stronger. Cooldown time refers to how long a move will take in seconds until it can be used again. For Moonblast, it takes 8 seconds until it's usable once more. This time is lowered by Pokemon Speed stat. There's a video by Parasitoid Pod that goes over how speed affects a move's cooldown timer, which I highly recommend looking at for more information on the subject. And lastly, there's the move's description. This is a brief description of the move, but sometimes it contains extra information that might be important to know. In Moonblast's case, it has a chance to lower the target's special attack temporarily. Some moves do not have additional effects, so it's always good to check the description. All of this makes up a move, but there are still a couple more things to talk about that are important. First, there's a move's distance. These can be close ranged, long ranged, or rangeless. You'll know where the Pokemon is trying to move based on a white ring that appears on the floor either underneath the target or in an empty spot. When using Tackle, a close range move, the Pokemon will try to get close to the target and then execute the move. The Pokemon will keep moving to the target until it is in range or until enough time has passed without reaching it. Enough time can pass if the target keeps running away or if your Pokemon is stuck against an obstacle. When using Moonblast, a long-range move, the Pokemon will try to move beside the trainer and attack once it gets there. Be careful there is no wall beside you as it can keep the Pokemon stuck for some time before using the move. Even if the attack can be executed, this does not necessarily mean the attack will reach, so keep that in mind depending on which move you used. When using Synthesis, a rangeless move, the Pokemon immediately uses the move without having to position itself. This is because the Pokemon is not reliant on the target to activate it. This usually means the move only affects the Pokemon using it. After the Pokemon is in position for its move, there's the move's execution. As I'm not sure if there are proper names for them yet, I will give them my own for now and hope they are clear enough to understand. For close range attacks, there are a couple of different executions. These may not be all as it would require me to test every single move in the game, but these are the common ones. One is a direct attack. Moves like Tackle, Iron Tail, and Dragon Claw are good examples where they attack the area immediately in front of the Pokemon. Another is Area of Effect attacks, also known as AoEs. Although every attack in the game could potentially hit other Pokemon if they're close enough, these specialize in hitting the surrounding area around the user. Examples are Earthquake, Sludge Wave, and Bulldoze. Another is what I call Chasers. Once the attack begins, it locks onto the Pokemon and then rams into them. These are attacks that I consider impossible to avoid unless you swap at the right time, Mega Evolve before it lands, or an obstacle blocks the path. Examples are Giga Impact, Dragon Rush, and Close Combat. And lastly, there are charge attacks. These attacks dash forward and hit anything in its path for a short range. Examples are Waterfall, Double Edge, and Drill Run. For long range attacks, there are also a couple of different executions. One is a projectile. These toss out an object, usually a ball or orb, that travels for some time until it lands or some distance is traveled. Examples are Moonblast, Focus Blast, Pin Missile, and Sludge Bomb. Another are guaranteed hits. Similar to Chasers, once the attack begins, it is typically impossible to avoid unless swapping or Mega Evolving are involved. Examples are Psychic, Heat Wave, and Thunderbolt. Another are targeted spots. Once the move is used, an attack will appear on top or underneath the target but would not immediately go out. These attacks are usually harder to land as they take a long time to go off. Examples are Rock Slide, Hurricane, and Thunder. Another are beams. Once the Pokemon is in position, it launches a beam towards the target. Some beams might be slower or faster than others. Once fired, the Pokemon will not rotate to face the target. Examples are Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, and Hyper Beam. Lastly, there are setups or traps. These will set something in front of the Pokemon itself, like traps or some obstacle. Examples are Spikes, Stealth Rock, and Substitute. These are the more common move executions that can be seen, each with their own pros and cons. One more detail to consider when using a move are plus moves. When a move is mastered, it can be used as a plus move, which basically is like using the Mega Evolved form of a move without Mega Evolving. It uses 1 out of the 4 sections of the Mega Evolution meter. These moves can increase in power, execute quicker than normal, or last longer in the case of buffs. For example, when Solar Beam is used as a plus move, it executes faster than it normally would. Most attacking moves will increase in power as well. Knowing when to use plus moves can make a huge difference when attacking others or setting up. A move is considered mastered when it has a plus icon next to its name. If it does not have a plus icon, you can master it by leveling up if it's a level up move, or by going to the Justice Dojo and talking to Josie, using 1 seed of mastery to master the selected moves, especially TM moves. These are all the details related to moves that are relevant to Pokemon Legends Z8. If there are any corrections to be made or suggestions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.